Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and can I have a falafel with hot sauce, a side order of Baba Ghanoush, and a seltzer, please? Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out. Oh my gosh. Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, my friend, I'm just studying the Dewey Decibel System right here. It's really helpful.
Please alphabetize all my DVDs using the. I want you to order them in the Dewey Decimal System, please. Actually, please don't do that. We are dorking out about 1995's Party Girl, starring Parker Posey, Anthony DeSando, Guillermo Diaz, Donna Mitchell, Liv Schreiber. He's hunky, and Omar Townsend. This is it's so cute. I haven't seen this one since 95. It was like one of those really small indie movies, but it's like peak Parker Posey, indie girl. Did you see it in the theater, Margo?
Yeah, I saw it. I'm trying to think of the theater it was. It was one of those little theaters in Manhattan where you see the independent movies.
Mm-hmm.
And there was independent movie season, like in the mid 90s. Everybody went to see them. It was the cool thing to say you saw was the Parker Posey movie.
Yes.
And she was in a bunch of them at the time. And if you don't like Parker Posey, this movie is a tough slog. I'm just going to say. Because it uses all of her charms.
Yes.
To make it work.
If you don't like Parker Posey, I'm not sure we could be friends.
No.
Everybody drink. She's really adorable in this movie. And I think she's just a very interesting person. And I looked it up. She was in 4 movies in 1995. So it was this one. It was a movie called Drunks with Richard Lewis, Flirt, and The Doom Generation.
I don't know any of those movies.
They are all indie movies. And this is why she was the girl.
Right.
Because then we got Clock Watchers, Day Trippers, House of Yes. And then
that's a good one.
And then I love House of Yes. That movie's a trip. Mm-hmm. And then she, she did all the Christopher Guest, Waiting for Guffman and stuff. She was just so, and this movie is she's so fucking cute. The clothes and the makeup and even the idea of it. And if you haven't seen Party Girl, it's streaming on Amazon Prime right now. I think you could watch it for free with ads, or it's 99 cents. I think we rented it for 99 cents.
I think I wish I had done that. I didn't know that Amazon was doing that now.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of movie that it's very jarring. It takes place in 1995. Mm-hmm. And then to have modern ads thrown in there when it's a very specific time in New York.
Yes.
Right now. But anyway.
I want to ask you first, actually, how does New York look in this movie?
Oh, I miss New York.
Yeah.
So that's the New York I moved to.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the year I moved there. And it's the graffiti and Lower East Side being kind of skanky and weird. That was all there. And it's funny because about 20 years later, everything became expensive in New York and everything got spruced up and stuff. But now because of COVID, it's changing back to what it was then, or even worse, back to the 70s. Mm-hmm. So it is a little weird time capsule.
Yeah.
And there were times I went, I know where that is. I know where that falafel stand is. Exactly. Aw.
Yeah. I couldn't help but wonder how it looked. It's, it was filmed for $150,000 over 19 days. It looks it.
Yeah,
it looks it for sure.
Yeah,
my husband.
They don't have a wasted piece of film.
Yeah, my husband watched this one with me because he has a crush on Parker Posey
everyone does
because he's fucking rad, and he's like, "Oh, it's been a while since I've seen a movie that's this low budget, this indie." And I was like, "Yeah," but this is the type of movie that you love to see back in the day. So this one is she's a party girl. It's right there in the title. She's throwing raves in her apartment, and she's charging people, and she gets arrested for it. So she calls her godmother. It's her only living, they're not even really related, but they're family, her only living quasi family member, to bail her out of jail after she's arrested. And she gets a job working with this godmother at the library, working as a library clerk. And it's so cute. It's just like
it's really cute.
It's just one of those movies, kind of like, I keep bringing this up, it's kind of like a Legally Blonde. It's kind of like a Clueless, where like they find what they want to do or what they want to be, and they make the changes inside themselves to do it, but don't necessarily change their physical. It's the what did she say? I'm going to make over my soul, like in Clueless. It's like that. And I really like those kinds of movies. So I really liked revisiting this one because I hadn't seen it since the theater.
I haven't seen it in over 20 years, and I had the same reaction sometimes. I'm like, oh, yeah, we used to be okay with really cheap quality, camera angles and shots and bad ADR and stuff like that. It was okay, because to us, that was a part of the charm, because it was giving other writers, and I checked out all the names and everything. Like, there's nobody from Miramax on this, which is unusual. I mean, it's just like, it gave like this a woman who was the writer and the director. What is her name? You have it in front of you?
I do. It is, hold on, Daisy Mayer.
Yes.
Mayer, sorry, Daisy Mayer.
And it just gives her the opportunity to tell a story that no one would tell. And also, this includes a club where there's gay people, transgender people, non-binary. There's all kinds of stuff that nowadays we're much more comfortable with.
Yes.
Or, we're used to it. But at the time, it was freaky.
Yeah, it's very modern in that way. And I think what people we don't think about it so much anymore, but before this, all the movies were like really not, I'm not saying this movie like started it all or anything. It's part of that movement, the like kind of independent film movement. Was all the movies were like really big budget, Spielberg, Lucas, Coppola, like really big movies. And I was thinking of it in terms of music a little bit. Like in the 80s, everything was like super produced, super slick.
Bright.
Bright. Like kind of like how grunge was like the answer to hair metal. Like independent film was like the answer to like really big budget, slick studio movies. And so I don't want to say like cool people, but like people were interested in seeing different kinds of stories, and an independent movie would take that chance. And that's how a lot of, especially like in the gay community, would flock to these movies to see stories, to see themselves on screen.
Well, yeah, I mean, it started I think it was the year before, was Pulp Fiction and then Forrest Gump. And that was always the comparison people made, because they were both equally popular. But one had much more of the cool factor than the other because it was Quentin Tarantino and it was considered an independent picture and independently made. But even though Miramax was a big studio, but anyway, it's different. It was just this different time. I mean, Eric Stoltz was in a bunch of movies. A lot of them were about relationships, because that's the easiest thing to film.
Yes.
There's no special effects. There's no accents or whatever. Like, it's just, so there were a lot, like Kicking and Screaming was one that everybody liked that I thought was dreadful. I hated that movie.
I know people, I've only seen that one once too. I haven't revisited, but I know that people love it. Or they hate it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that time. I mean, it was the cool thing to see those kind of movies. Anyway, that was why you wanted to live in New York anyway, because living in the suburbs, I'd have to wait months for it to be available on VHS, to rent at the video store. So that was one of the things I really loved. I loved her in Dazed and Confused, so I already was a fan. But this character she plays, Mary, and she's, in so many ways, I love this because she's an asshole. She's very selfish. Yes. She's vain. She steals clothes from people.
Yes.
Which is why she has a fabulous wardrobe. She steals. And I'm like, how does anything fit her? She's so tiny. But I guess she gets everything fitted for her. But anyway, she has a friend that moves in with her. And I love it. Like, he's a spinner, which is like, it means something different now than it did then. But he's not gay, right? No, because he likes Venus, the dancer. But so Lev Schreiber is a guy. That is the worst British accent, is it not? I'm sorry. And I love him too.
I do too. I think he's really hunky. Like there's something about like when he's not doing the fake British accent, like his voice is like there's something very like manly man about Liv Schreiber that makes me feel like a dainty little flower that I super love.
My friend went out once with him. And he left her a voicemail to ask her out on a date, and she let me hear it. I know. My friend, she was I don't want to say her name, but she was a beautiful, beautiful woman. She worked in PR at Condé Nast. And he says, "Hey, how you doing? I've never been good at this. I'm never going to be good at this. I'd like to ask you out. Would you like to go to a party with me? Here's my number." I know. It was incredible. And she's like, "Liv Schreiber, just ask me out. Liv Schreiber." I mean, she really, yeah. And she went out to some star-studded party and she said they had a nice time. And I think maybe they just kissed and then she never heard from him again.
Oh, I would save that voicemail forever.
Forever. I know. I felt very, very, what's the word I'm thinking of? The fact that she let me listen to it first was very special to me.
Yeah.
It was a good, that was the start of our friendship.
I was worried for a second that you were going to say his voice doesn't really sound like that.
No, it's like, hi.
Oh,
no, he had that
I'm not
voice.
good at this, but I was wondering if you want to go on a date, ma'am.
It's something about that deep voice and then that just vulnerability, or maybe he says that all the time. Who knows? But it works. Let me tell you, fellas, that does work. So he's like, I'm not sure how to do this, but I'd love to ask you out. And it's like,
Oh, he plays such a creep in this movie, though.
He's a date rapist. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a date.
She barely gets away from him.
Yeah, that was one of the parts of the movie, though, where I was like, really? We got to do this.
There's a lot. Okay, this movie is only an hour and a half, but it feels stretched. Yeah. Like, there's more. I wish she'd done a few more passes at the story. Like, this is where a studio or another producer would come in and be like, we just need a little bit more conflict. It'd be fun to see her bonding a bit more with maybe the people that go to the library and maybe bonding, over books and stuff like that. And instead, we get this very long sequence. Well, it's like a 3-act. She goes in, the best scene is when she figures out the Dewey Decimal System and she spends the whole night just putting books away.
Yes.
And she's dancing. And she looks adorable.
Yeah, she's adorable. Everybody drink. And her clothes, her clothes throughout the movie are so cute. And because she is like stealing like designer pieces from people, and then she's mixing them with like shit that she probably buys at like the thrift store. So it's it's super cool. It's like that look that we all wish we could pull off back in the day. Yes. I would have loved to have been this cool in my 20s.
Me too.
But I
think that was my aim, but I never came close.
I was shopping at like the Limited and Express. I was not cool.
Samesies.
Yep. Because we're the same.
We're the same. That's what I could afford. But I just don't have that eye. I don't have that eye. My sister has a great eye for thrift stores. Like she just knows how to buy the one thing at a really good price that 6 months later you see it everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
She's always been super talented that way, and I just don't possess it.
Well, now I'm just all like my toddler grandma style is what I call it, with my print dresses and tights that don't really go with it, and my saddle shoes.
And it's me, way black on black upon black.
You can't
Shades of black.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, but she becomes this really good. Well, she knows how to put the books away. She gets really good at it. She figures out the Dewey Decimal System, and then Judy is the family friend, and of course Parker Posey has to be a bit of a screw up. I mean, her mother died of a DUI. Yeah. So she and Judy have an argument, and Parker Posey at this time, by the way, she's flirting with a guy who Omar. It's Mustafa.
Yeah, he plays
Omar Townsend.
Yeah, he's really cute.
Oh my God, is he gorgeous?
Yeah.
Is he Lebanese?
Yes.
And he has a falafel stand, and this is such a New York thing, and that made me kind of sad because I miss this about New York, but. There's always a thing that people would wait in line hours for, as impatient as New Yorkers are. We're total trend bots. And if somebody says, that's the cool thing, like cronuts, like, oh, well, yeah, I'll spend like my whole one day off waiting for one. And the one across the street is cooler than his. And Parker flirts with him all the time. And then, of course, when they have sex, it's at the library. And of course, Parker left the windows open, so it ruined all these books, and she gets fired. And she kind of has this out of control moment where she throws a rave and she takes drugs.
Yeah.
And Lev Schreiber, those scenes, but they're just way too long. I mean, that whole section is way too long.
It is way too long. And actually, and that party scene is really awkward. It's like really
stiff.
Really awkwardly done. Like, I know it's there to create conflict and to kind of show her hit maybe like a rock bottom. But like her fight with Mustafa is kind of weird. It's not like super well done, but she does get to say like, I would like a nice, powerful, mind altering substance. Preferably
that would
one.
give my children gills. Yeah. But that's also an independent movie line. Like, that's just something.
Yes.
Somebody says to be. I wish more of the script was witty like that. I think it's some of it's the scene, like her with the DJ. I love the fact that she, uses her new powers to help him organize his collection.
Yes.
Which is great. But then there's this whole awkward scene where in the shower together.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that? I know. It was just like, are we supposed to just, and then she just goes, incest, and walks out. I'm like, what? It just wasn't necessary. There's a lot of things there that they shove in to make it an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, this is really an hour movie.
For sure.
There's a lot you could take out. And I think some of the dancing sequences are super awkward. And it's one of those, like, I didn't realize until years, like a few years ago, that somebody told me, like, whenever you see a dancing scene in a movie, there's no dance music happening.
Isn't that so weird?
Which is so weird to me. Like, I never believed that. This movie, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, because nobody's dancing on the beat. People are really awkward. I don't know, like, people are moving in different directions at different times. And like, yeah, because that's a real skill, like, be able to do that. And so there's certain moments where you're like, oh, these are all friends of the director doing this for free.
Yes.
And
it definitely
filling up
has
the
that
screen.
Yeah, it has that vibe.
Yeah,
for sure. But it's what you said. Like, it's padded out a little bit. That conflict takes way too long. Like, it takes up a huge chunk of time. And so she takes her mind-altering drug. She's kind of stumbling around the party. And then that's when...
She looks beautiful at that party, by the way.
Yes, she looks beautiful throughout the movie, I think.
She does.
And,
yeah.
Then that's when, like, Liv Schreiber shows back up. And at first it looks like he's trying to, like, help her out.
Yeah.
Like, she's flailing around. She's kind of acting a fool. And he, like, swoops in and kind of pulls her aside. But then he starts making out with her. And he tries to force himself on her. He does. He tries to force himself on her, and she kicks him in the balls and locks him out. It's just a really weird thing. I was like, we didn't need this.
And she's sleeping on the stairs.
Yeah.
Of her bill. Yeah, it's a very long prologue. I mean, I'm like, I already knew she hit bottom when she couldn't pay her rent. She had to sell all her clothes.
Yeah.
Like, I already knew she was at a point in her life, like, okay, I got to get my shit together.
Yeah.
And then I do love this part. It comes back. The movie wins me back when she takes the other coworker at the library, pulls her up against the stack, and says, "You're going to help me, bitch. I want to be a librarian. You're going to help me, bitch." And then they all try to figure out, like, where do you want to go to school? Where do you want to be a librarian? I have a friend that's a librarian. It takes years of study.
Yes, I have two friends that are librarians, and yeah, they have, like, serious degrees in that sort of thing. It's not like, oh, you just get a job there and work there. It's
years.
Yeah. And they and this is where they could have added more scenes in the library with her and those coworkers.
Yes.
There's a few with her and one of the other coworkers kind of casually talking, and she's like, and then he just put the book back wherever he wanted to, and I was like, what a jerk. Like, they have that, but then there's this funny scene where they're helping her, and it would have been even funnier if we knew the characters just a little bit more.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been a really nice... I wanted more library stuff. Like, she fights with Mustafa, like, twice, and I'm like, we didn't need 2 times. Just 1 time's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of padding going on. I think that, a producer or someone should have been able to shape that along a little bit more. I mean, it's still it's very adorable. I mean, in the last part, it's her birthday and her friends are throwing her a surprise party, and there's a male stripper.
Oh
you and I were talking about that on our Patreon bonus for What a Creep.
That actually, and all the stuff at the end is really funny to me. Where, especially so that, you know, her Judy comes to her house and she's trying to tell her, like, I'm serious. I really want this. I want to be a librarian. Please help me. And they're having a surprise party for her. So it's all these like party people and drag queens and stuff, and they ordered a stripper, and of course it's like a cop, and he's like, you're under arrest, and then he like starts stripping or whatever. But the scene where like he's like kind of grinding on her and she's like, I'm serious about graduate school. It's just so funny. It's like just such a funny little clip that just, it made me laugh. And yeah, and then it's got like the happy ending, you know, where they're all dancing, and it's cute. It's so cute.
It's really, really cute. And it's like, if you're looking for an escape, it's especially this time we're in, it helps. It's got fun music, and
yes, definitely.
You know, it's a couple of slow parts. Check your phone if you get bored. But you know, but overall, I found there's a few moments that are just so original and adorable, and it's because of her. If, like I said, if you're not a Parker Posey fan, this may not be the movie for you, because it really counts on her, because they let her be a jerk sometimes, and they let her be annoying and really, you know, does that, you know, downtown scenester kind of thing, which I always really hated. Those people. But she wins you back because she's just so cute and funny and smart.
And I think there's also, I think that this kind of movie is made all the time on a bigger scale, but it's usually about a man. It's kind of like a man-child trying to figure out what he wants to do, and there's like a supportive woman around that helps him figure it out. And, you know, they're usually like Judd Apatow movies, and that's fine. Like that's a thing, and, you know, they're pleasurable to watch, and I'm not shitting on them. But I think that we don't get a ton of movies that with the gender reversal. Like she is like a bit of a woman child. She's in her 20s. She's directionalist. She hasn't figured out what she wanted to do, which, by the way, a lot of people are like in their 20s. And and I know plenty of people were in the 90s. It used to not be a thing. Like when you were younger, I don't know, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, you went to college, and by the time you went to college, you really knew what you wanted to do, I feel like. And then later it was, people are still figuring it out, and now people are in their 20s, and you're like, they're still just a kid. They're in their 20s. But that didn't used to be a thing. It used to be when you were in your 20s, you were an adult, but now we think of them as so young that they're practically babies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining it very well.
But we stretched out adolescence to be into the 20s.
See, you put things much better than I. Like, my parents were married at 19. They had kids at 21. Like, and to me, they were adults. But like now, if someone gets married at 19, you're like, what the fuck? Why'd you get married at 19? You're just a baby. You know, I knew people that got married in their 20s, and I was like, what? Why would you get married in your 20s? But that's me.
No, me too.
Oh, do you think Mary and Mustafa stay together?
I don't.
I don't either.
No, he becomes a teacher in New York. I think she has to go to Ann Arbor or something. I think she just have to go out of state to go to a program. And it takes, like I said, it takes years to be a librarian, and you have to write a paper and all this shit. And so I think she goes to some place like Ann Arbor or something, and she kind of becomes the it girl there while she's going to school. Yeah.
I think that's a good, I'm down for that story. I think that's true too. I don't think they would part, I think they would part as friends.
I think absolutely. She's like, look, I'm going to do my thing. You do your thing. In 10 years, there's going to be Facebook. We'll be friends there. It'll be great. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
I did love it when she breaks up with Liv Schreiber the first time, and she says, you lower my worth. like he does. He lowers her worth. Is there anything else we want to say about Party Girl?
It features Arnie from I think that's Arnie from The Sopranos.
Oh.
He's a tough guy. He's the guy that gets kicked out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because I see him in my neighborhood all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he lives here. Yeah.
That's funny. Do you want to hear about some of the other independent movies of 1995?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The Brothers McMullen came out in 95.
I had such a crush on Edward. What's this? Edward Burns.
That's another voice.
That's a movie to revisit because that's another one. Like, it's filmed with nothing, like a nothing budget. And he had his girlfriend that couldn't act, and she was like in his first 3 movies or something.
Oh, who was it?
What was her name? She was beautiful. She was so beautiful, but she couldn't act.
Yeah.
And then he had Jennifer Aniston in one of his movies, and then it was like, whoa, she can't act because next to Jennifer Aniston. It's like,
I think Cameron Diaz was in one of his movies too, right?
I feel like they dated.
Maybe. I would have dated.
Yeah.
I would have dated him too.
Oh, he's so my type. Yeah.
He's foxy.
Yeah.
I know you love this movie, Cold Comfort Farm.
Love this movie. So good.
Yeah.
Great book too.
Put it on your list, everyone. I already mentioned The Doom Generation. That's, I think it's one of Rose McGowan's first movies.
Bless her heart.
I don't recall liking it. It's a super fucking bummer. That's what I remember. I do love this movie, Friday, with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. I legit love the movie Friday. I think it's super fucking funny, and I could watch it.
We should cover it.
We should. I'm going to put it on the list because I love this movie. Here's one I don't love. Kids.
The terrible movie.
Oh my God. That movie is
so pretentious. So fucking pretentious.
I fucking hate it. I hate it. It's like a horror movie to me too. Like, it's pretentious and it's terrifying to me that people behave that way and everyone's a piece of shit in it. And I know it has like its fans, but I am not one of them.
No.
Welcome to the Dollhouse.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh my God, this is bringing all my memories back. This movie made my roommate cry her eyes out.
Oh.
Cry her fucking eyes out. Yeah, she felt so bad for her.
So many people can relate to, what was her name? Dawn Wiener?
Yeah,
right?
Wiener Dog? What did they call her?
Yeah, they called her Wiener Dog, I think.
Welcome to the Dollhouse. Yeah. Remember the guy she had a crush on who had a band?
Yeah. It's hard to watch because it's so awkward, but it is really well done. I didn't watch, there was a pseudo sequel to it, I think just called Wiener Dog. Did you? No. Honestly, I just wanted the movie poster because it had like a wiener dog on it. And I was like, I'll just buy the poster, but I haven't. And it had a song. It was like the Ballad of Wiener Dog. And it's like, Wiener Dog, yeehaw, or something. But it was kind of connected to this. But I know for a fact, spoilers, everyone, that dog is going to die. And so I can't watch it. Can't watch it. Also in 95, Living in Oblivion.
What's that one about?
That's the one where they're making a movie. It's got James LaGrosse and Steve Buscemi's in it. Catherine Keener.
Oh my God, these memories are coming back to me now. Yes.
All of these movies played I was at Chico at the time, at Chico State Party School, and there was a tiny little art house there called The Pageant, where the seats were like couches and stuff like that. And almost all of these movies played there, except for Brothers McMullen and Friday, which actually played at my theater, strangely enough. Also, Swimming with Sharks came out in 95.
That's a great movie, from what I remember.
Yeah. It's Kevin Spacey. First of all, fucking creep. What a creep. Yeah. He's the worst fucking boss you've ever seen. He's so terrible. It's a good movie, though.
It's a great movie. Benicio del Toro's in it.
Is he?
Yeah, in the first few minutes. Yeah.
Oh, such crushes on him, both of us. And then the last one on my list is The Last Supper. I feel like maybe we've mentioned this one before, actually. Did you see that one?
No, you know what? I think you've mentioned it and I keep forgetting it.
Yeah, it's got like Ron Elyard, Cameron Diaz.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they all play graduate, Annabella Gish. They all play there's like a group of graduate students that start inviting they're all super liberal, and they start inviting these like conservative stereotypes to dinner every Sunday night and argue with them. And if they can't change their mind, they serve them poisoned wine and then bury them in the backyard.
Wow.
It's a really weird movie. And I don't know, I kind of liked it at the time. I would have to revisit, but it's fucked up. Yeah, so that's our 95 list.
Okay, so I picked, these are the top album CDs, whatever you want to say, for 1995.
Okay.
The Lion King soundtrack. You couldn't avoid that.
The Lion King played at my theater and played for a year. 1 year.
Unbelievable.
I listened to The Lion King like 5 times a day for a year.
Jesus. That would make me angry.
Yes, I can feel the love tonight. Fuck. Shut up.
Throwing Copper by the band Live.
I loved that one.
I loved it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dookie by Green Day.
Oh, yeah, I had that one too.
I had that one. Vitology, Pearl Jam. I got that one.
Yep.
Crazy Sexy Cool, TLC.
I love that album.
Me too.
It's so good.
Hell Freezes Over, the Eagles. That was their live album. Sold very well.
Yes, it did. I did not go see that tour, but I remember.
I did.
Was it good? Because I remember entertaining the idea, but it was actually out of my price range.
It was super fucking expensive. It played in, it's the Shoreline Amphitheater? Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah, it was super expensive. The thing I remember the most is we had really good seats, and the few rows in front of me, there was a kid. He was like 15, 16 years old, and he had like popcorn and soda. And he just kept going like this to all of us around him. I am so pumped right now. I'm so pumped. This is my first concert. It's the Eagles. And we all like applauded him because he was so excited. And it was a good show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just could not. I'm working
justify
student.
The price.
Yeah, no, so expensive. But I totally would have gone.
That's the thing I did that month instead of movies or anything else. I remember that.
I didn't eat that month.
Yeah. The album called 2 by Boys to Men.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And the #1 album CD of 1995, The Hits by Garth Brooks.
Okay. Garth Brooks was so huge at the time. I didn't listen to country music. It was not my thing. And even I knew who Garth Brooks was. Like he was a
big star.
Such a big star.
I saw him twice.
Was he good? Because I bet he was really good, actually.
It's the same thing I get with the Book of Mormon. He was so great as a performer. He plays to the entire house. Mm-hmm. Like you get your money's worth. I started singing along. I'm high-fiving people. And every once in a while, his music would show up on my iPod because I just put everything on there when you put 10,000 songs. And I'm like, what's this shit? I'm like, ugh. I'm the rain. What? I'm not listening to this. And I forget it. It's the same thing like the Book of Mormon. I loved it when I saw it. Yeah. I saw the original cast, everything. I got the soundtrack, put it on my iPod. Every once in a while, I'd shuffle. A song would come. I'm like, what's this shit? And it's like, oh my God. So some things you have to just experience live, I think.
I think that makes sense. And
yeah.
I don't know like a ton about Garth Brooks, but he seems like a decent dude.
He seems like the nicest person. He's in a good marriage now.
Yeah, he's with Trisha
Yearwood. He took time off to help raise his kids. He seems like a really decent human being.
Yeah. Remember when he did Chris Gaines?
Oh, that was the best because they actually did it behind the music with Chris Gaines. Remember that? Remember that?
What I remember was he hosted Saturday Night Live and Chris Gaines was the musical guest.
And then he also did that thing with, what's that weird character?
Mango.
Yes, he did a Mango set.
I love that you were like the weird character. Mango.
You said it right away. People used to call me at that time with that Mango, that sketch. Mm-hmm. People called me Mango.
Yeah.
Margo and Mango are very similar.
You are not Mango-esque though, at all.
Fuck no.
No. But I remember that song that he did. It was like, and the thunder rolls. And the lightning strikes.
It's very over the top.
Very dramatic.
I got friends in low places. Yeah. I'm like, this is so stupid. You put me in a concert with him doing that, I'll sing it the loudest.
That's amazing.
I'm a sucker for a good performer. If somebody performs with enthusiasm, I have so much empathy for them. I'm so with them. Like when people really give to the audience, I give you a big break.
I think I totally get that. I think that's awesome. I love that if you're such a good performer that your genre of music, it like transcends that. Like,
right.
Yeah, I could totally see that. That's awesome.
Versus people who stand on stage and strum their good. I remember, like, my sister and I, we were really young, and our parents let us go see the Cars. I think one of my parents had to go with us. But the Cars, great band, great music, so boring live.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Barely moved, barely talked to the audience, like no energy. It was infuriating. Like we were really getting pissed after a while because just like, what are we doing here? I could go home and listen to this. I just put on a record. Yeah.
That sucks.
I'll take that over Garth Brooks. I mean, I'll take Garth Brooks over that when it comes to performance.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to the Cars for the rest of my life. I will not listen to Garth Brooks on my own. Does that make sense?
Yes. It makes perfect sense. So besides Garth Brooks, what else are you dorking out about?
He had an A&E special a few months ago and I watched it. That's like how much I love Garth Brooks.
I was thinking about watching it actually because I heard it was really good.
It was. He's nutty. He's a little nutty. But I think he embraces that.
That's good. I'm here for it.
So I'm actually dorking out about a couple of things.
I'm ready.
On Netflix, they have season 2 of Glow Up, which is a makeup artist competition.
Ooh.
And it's based in the UK.
Okay. And I like where this is going.
And they're 30 minutes apiece. And there's a couple of people that are, I love makeup just in general. I am a girl that puts on makeup every day, even though I barely leave my apartment.
I also put on makeup I wear lipstick every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, you're on Zoom all the time too.
Yeah.
For work, but even
look, the filter on Zoom isn't going to cover everything, my friends. I have to wear some makeup.
But it's the first thing I do. Like I have coffee and I put that on. That's part of my like routine. So, and I'm always looking at, I like makeup artists and there are some super talented people. And this is the second season and there's some really amazingly talented people. Like I can't wait. I'm only a few episodes in, but if you're looking for the next thing to binge, and it's pure escapism, everybody's really nice to each other. Like everyone's just doing really good work. And they also do things in a decent amount of time. It's not like you need to come up with the new Star Trek makeup and you've got 10 minutes, go. That always turns up shit. It always drives me crazy when shows do that. They don't do that here. So there's some really quality work. So that, and then there's this podcast. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Nice White Parents. And it's by the people from Serial.
Yesterday, I put it on my list. I was like, I might be into this. So it's good?
Oh, my God. Yes. It's about how there's a school in Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn that I know because I used to teach in Brooklyn before the gym blew up that I worked at. And I've been there for 10 years. And it was a few years ago, there was sort of this flight of the Italian working class people and rich white people kind of showed up. And they came to Brooklyn and all of a sudden you could hear kids everywhere speaking French. And it's because the elementary school there that everybody wanted to go to was intensive with French. And then these kids had to go on to middle school and high school in New York City. I don't know what they're doing right now, but you have to apply to go to schools. And your kid could be far off into the Queens or the Bronx or whatever.
Yeah. San Francisco's like this too.
Yeah. Okay. So there's this one middle school, high school that was based, it's like School of International Studies or something in Carroll Gardens. And the principal could not get people to go there for her life. And she said, they're nice kids. It's safe. And you only get a certain amount of money based on the number of students you have. So she really tried to recruit the parents. And these parents are like, oh, I want my kids to be integrated and have Black friends and Asian friends and all that stuff. But we'll go to your school, but only if you teach French. And so as soon as they show up, the parents started changing the curriculum. And then it created this chasm between the kids that were there before, meaning the Black kids, Arabic kids, and the new white kids that showed up. And everybody's very well-meaning, but
interesting.
It's so interesting because that's something I never even thought about. But it's like, it's white people coming along like, we want integration, but we also want French all the time. And a lot of these kids there, they speak Spanish because they speak Spanish at home, or they speak Arabic, or they speak Cantonese. I mean, there's these kids, they have, there's families from all over the place. And they said they immediately feel left out. And it's very interesting. And it's like, there's no real villains. I mean, everyone's being well-meaning. Yeah. But, white people, we can cause a lot of damage without realizing it. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to know that.
That is I'm glad I put it on my list then, because this sounds very much like my jam. I actually think my husband would be really into this one. He's very into school stuff. I think he would be interested in this.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. San Francisco also has like certain schools that like the school my son goes to also has like an Italian immersion program, or there's like a Japanese immersion program at his school as well. And then there's other schools that have like Spanish immersion, and
I would do that one for my kid.
Right?
Yeah.
By the way, that was our original plan before we realized Calvin was autistic, because we were like, no, I think we got enough on our plate. But like our original plan was bilingual. Like, we were going to do it because I was like, Spanish would be so helpful. I've attempted to learn Spanish, by the way, like 3 different times.
My sister's fluent. I can't speak a word.
David actually can speak French. Like he took 4 years of French, and he picks it up really fast. And like, we went on our honeymoon in France, and he did really awesome. I've took 1 year of Spanish and listened to like language podcasts trying to learn, and I'm fucking stupid. I just forget it all after like a second. Like, I could talk about the weather or, things like that. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. That's a good recommendation, and it is on my list. So we've been dorking out about The Last Dance on Netflix, which is...
Oh, so what's that?
That is the Michael Jordan Bulls documentary. It's all it's all about like the 1990s Bulls and like how they built their dynasty, how they built that franchise and became like the huge like basketball dynasty that they are. And it's, about like Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, and kind of some of the drama in the background. And I mean, they won like 6 championships in 8 years. It's pretty crazy. And I don't even really like basketball, but I was super interested in this. And like, we got through it in a timely fashion. Each episode is like 45 minutes. It was originally on ESPN. It's really well done. It has really great access to everybody. I mean, I don't know if it gets into I think Michael Jordan had some say because they kind of talk about his gambling, but not too much, and
you get the idea he's kind of a dick.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, because to me, as someone who's not really into basketball that much, to me, Michael Jordan is like, I know that like he's super involved in his shoes, the shoe empire, with Nike. And that's a whole other, by the way, if you ever want to learn about that, there's an episode of Abstract on Netflix that's all about how they built the Air Jordans. And he's super involved in that. And it's really interesting. So if you're interested in that part. But to me, it's like, oh, he's the Air Jordan guy. He's the guy from Space Jam. Be Like Mike. He seemed nice to me, I guess. But deep down, I knew, I was like, so someone's not like the best at basketball and wins all these championships and they're fucking nice all the time. Like, no, they're super competitive. And he's very competitive. And that was one of the things that was kind of cracking us up. Like, he takes everything very personal, like the slightest little slight, and he's like, and now I will destroy you on the basketball court. And but it's really, really good. And it's just about, I don't know, how we build up our athletes, but then we try to knock them down, and how vicious that can be. They interview a lot of really great people. They interview people he played against. They interview other people that were on the team. There's stuff about Rodman where I was like, this stuff I just didn't know about him. And I'm like, they could have done like a whole separate documentary series just about Dennis Rodman, I think. Because
he's insane.
He is a character. Like, there's stuff going on there that we don't know about. And like, the coach is so amazing and how he just played to everyone's strengths. And they interview Barack Obama because Chicago. So gosh, every time he showed up I was like, I miss you, come back, I miss you. It's really, really well done. So I think even if you don't like sports documentaries, you could watch this. It reminded me a little bit too of the O.J. Simpson one, Made in America. Not that Michael Jordan killed anyone, he didn't.
No.
But the idea of how it goes back in time and forward in time and gives you context for everything that's going on around it, and how it uses music too. It's just really well done. So if y'all are interested, it's called The Last Dance and it's on Netflix.
It's really good. And like she said, even if you don't like you're not into basketball or sports, there are just so many interesting characters here. And now I understand how the sport is played better too. Like, they really are good at explaining that, like everyone's position and what they did. And it did make you really appreciate it. I mean, and basketball, it's a fun sport to see live.
Yeah. I don't like watching basketball on TV. I don't know, maybe it's too fast paced.
Yeah.
So I find baseball to be very relaxing when I watch it. Like, and it is slow moving, and therefore it's easier for me to pay attention. But basketball is like very dramatic, and the way they film it and being able to get the kind of footage they do of them actually playing, and then them giving you the context of what's really going on behind that action makes it very dramatic. And I was like, shit, if all the games were like this, I would be watching all the time. But it's not like that. Or maybe it is if you really follow basketball and you really know what's going on. I don't know. But it's awesome. So put it on your list, y'all, if you haven't checked it out. This was fun. Margo, where can people find you on the internet?
You could find me on social media at Brooklyn Fitchick, mostly for Twitter and Instagram. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And if you like the sound of our voices, and I'm sure you do, because who wouldn't? Only an asshole. You should listen to us at What a Creep, where we're talking about creeps. Like, this week's episode is John Wayne. And then we end every episode with someone who's not a creep. It's really fun. We have a website, whatacreep.com. Or I'm sorry, whatacreeppodcast.com. And we have a private Facebook group if you want to go and visit. And sometimes people from Dorking Out join that group, and they like to talk about Dorking Out too. And I think that's okay.
Totally okay.
We allow that. We're fine with that. And you can find Dorking Out at dorkingoutshow.com. And you could email us if you would like some stickers at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. You'll notice Margo didn't have to remind me this time because I put a note for myself.
Very good, Sonia.
Yay! I am so smart. SMRT.
T.
You can give us some reviews on Apple Podcasts and we'll be your best friends. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram. And thank you so much for listening. Next week, I think we're going to have a special guest.
Fingers crossed we can make this happen. But we had Erica Bromley from F This Movie. We talked about Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love.
Which is one of her favorite movies. And so should we say what we're doing?
Yeah.
Just to prepare people?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're sticking with 87. I think that's when Can't Buy Me Love came out. We're going to be talking about the movie Cocktail, starring Tom Cruise and Elizabeth Shue. And it's shitty and amazing at the same time. I can't wait to see it. And it features Sonia's favorite song, Kokomo.
Fucking hate that song so much. I am really gonna try to control like my anger at how much I really, really hate that song. I don't know why. There's something about it that I really fucking hate it. But I super love Erica, and I'm excited that she's coming on. So hopefully we can make it happen. The timing's been really hard. All of us are juggling all kinds of shit. But anyway,
oh my God, yeah.
If it doesn't happen, we'll definitely have another fun movie, and we'll have her on some other time. But that is the plan right now. So everyone can do your podcasting homework and watch Cocktail. And thanks for talking about Party Girl with me, Margo. This was a good pick.
I loved it. Thank you so much. And I'm super excited. You know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to get a falafel with some hot sauce, a side Baba Ghanoush, and a seltzer water.
Do it. You think I can't work at your fucking library?